This video is going to cover the topic of simplifying fractions using the greatest common factors. Be sure the date and topic are at the top of your page. The essential question for this video is, how do we use greatest common factors to simplify fractions? We've been working recently with finding the greatest common factor, and one way that shows up again in a math class or when we're working with numbers is when we are talking about fractions. Sometimes we'll be talking about fractions and you'll hear me say something like, simplify your fraction. Simplify the fraction 8/16. And that means I'm looking for another way to write that fraction in smaller terms. Sometimes a fraction can be hard to work with or visualize in its original form, and we want to simplify it by rewriting it in smaller terms that makes it easier to understand. If I say 8/16, it might be hard to visualize it. Right here I've gone ahead and drawn it. It might be hard to visualize it, but I bet it's a lot easier to visualize 1/2, right? And these actually mean the exact same thing, right? 8/16 is equivalent to 1/2. 1/2 is just the simplified version of it. Makes it a little bit easier for us to sort of picture what we're talking about and have a common understanding. We simplify by using those common factors that we've been talking about. So for example, I know that 8 and 16 can both be divided by 8. They have a common factor of 8. And when we divide 8 by 8, we are left with 1. And when we divide 16 by 8, we are left with 2. And that's how we know that these two fractions are equivalent. But sometimes the numbers are a little bit trickier to work with. Let's say we have the fraction 4/36. I can't really visualize very well something that's 4 out of 36. I know it's a small amount, but it's a little hard to visualize, and it's rather annoying to draw 36 pieces and shade in 4. So I'd rather simplify it to be able to think about it. And I'm going to use the greatest common factors to simplify. And maybe you know right away, but maybe you want to use our strategy that we've been talking about, which is our cake method, right? So maybe we want to figure out what we can divide 4 and 36 by. And I know automatically I can divide them by 2. So I've factored out a 2. And then it looks like I can keep going. And I think that's the end of the road here. And these numbers represent what I have divided both 4 and 36 by, right? So this is me finding their common factors, right? I was able to divide both 4 and 36 by 2, but then I was able to divide it by 2 again. So essentially, remember that means that we were able to divide by 2 and 2 again. We were able to divide them both by 4, right? So their greatest common factor was 4. And if I go back over here and say, okay, I'm going to divide my numerator by 4, it leaves me with 1. And my 36 by 4, it leaves me with 9. I know that this is the simplified version of 4/36. And what's actually kind of interesting, and it makes mathematical sense, right? But what's interesting is that if I have my 4 up here and I divide it by 2 and 2, there's that 1 that is my numerator. And when I had my 36 here and I divided it by 2 and 2, I have a 9 here, and that's what ends up being my fraction, 1/9. So that's kind of helpful too. Let's try another, and I have here 30 out of 105, 30 105ths. And I'm trying to visualize that as it is, and I know it's less than half, but it's still kind of hard for me to picture 30 out of 105. So we're going to see if we can simplify it a bit. So our task is to figure out what I could divide 30 and 105 by to simplify this down. And you can choose, of course, to do it this way if you'd like, or maybe you have another strategy. Whichever strategy you use, go ahead and pause the video. See what you can come up with as their greatest common factor that we can use to simplify this fraction. How'd you do? Did you find out that you could divide 30 and 105 both by 15? That's what I found, right? Because I realized I could divide them both by 5, and I could also divide them both by 3, and the product of those numbers is 15. And so I'm going to use that, and I say, okay, I can divide my numerator by 15 and get 2. And my denominator divided by 15 is 7. So this fraction, 2/7, is mathematically equivalent to 30/105. But I can really use 2/7 in kind of visualizing it a lot more easily. I can say, oh, 2 out of 7, that makes sense. I can get a handle on that. So simplifying it was easier for me to sort of wrap my head around. So that will leave us with your turn. So this is your turn, and so you're going to simplify the fraction 8/56. I can tell that's a pretty small amount, 8/56, but it's hard for me to picture, so we're going to go ahead and simplify that down. Use whatever strategy works for you to find their greatest common factor, and then simplify. And remember, the essential question for this video is, how do we use the greatest common factor to simplify fractions? So be sure to have these notes ready, and you can refer to them anytime we need to, and be sure to simplify that final fraction. We'll go over this more together in class.